everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 287 and today's topic is Korean restaurants, your favorite Korean restaurant. So, do you have a favorite? Do you just have one favorite restaurant or do you have several favorite restaurants? I would have to say I have a couple as well. It really depends on the type of food. When it comes to maybe Japanese food, I do have a certain Japanese restaurant that I have in mind that tops my list, but that of course is not Korean, so that would be out of the list. When it comes to all different types of Korean menus, of course I do have a selection, a wide or diverse selection of my favorite Korean restaurants. I think today's lesson is going to be interesting. Let's begin by listening to a conversation between Gareth and Kelly and find out about their favorite Korean restaurants. Here we go.
Kelly, do you have a favorite Korean restaurant?
Yes, I do, but it changes a lot.
Does it?
With the season, with my mood,
yes.
with the people I'm entertaining. It depends what it's for.
Sure.
I'll say that one of my favorite Korean restaurants is kind of half Korean and half Cajun, if you can believe that.
Wow, interesting fusion.
Yeah.
Wow. What sort of menu? What sort of dishes do they have?
They have an incredible menu.
Do they?
They have Korean food. They have a little Cajun-inspired Korean food, if you can imagine that. They have popcorn flavored ice cream, and yet it all gets served out with kimchi and I think it's called namuo, the side dishes. Yeah.
Kimchi and ice cream?
Well, not at the same time.
Sure,
You order
sure.
them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm into buffets, and Korea does buffets wonderfully.
Oh,
so
they do.
The Grand Hyatt's pretty awesome for that.
That is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. How about you?
It's a tough choice because there's so many, but I think my favorite restaurant would be a restaurant close to our house that just, specializes in a few types of food, specifically jeok dokpap and ojinga dokpap, and then also has, doenjang jjigae and that type of stuff.
Sorry, I don't know what the first two are.
Ah, really? Right.
Not sure.
So, ojinga dokpap is squid in a spicy sauce.
Oh,
served
not
with
my
rice.
style.
And jeok dokpap is pork. So yeah, I like it there. It's very relaxing. You sit on the floor. It's very homely feel, small, quiet. Yeah, traditional. Yeah.
Well, to each their own. I mean,
Yes.
I guess the important part is that you find pleasure.
Exactly.
And eating is such an important part of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the
Cheers to
most
that.
important part of life.
Yes.
Now, Kelly's mentioned some interesting dishes. I don't know if I would want to try it. There was something about ice cream with Cajun sauces or Cajun-style ice cream. I'm not a huge fan of Cajun-style food, although I love spicy food. What's it like for you? Anyhow, let's take a look at actual talk together. Here we go. Gareth and Kelly bringing us the conversation. Gareth begins. He says, Kelly, do you have a favorite Korean restaurant? So, yes, we're talking about favorite Korean restaurants today, and that is the question. What did Kelly say? She said, I do, but it changes a lot with the season. So every time the season changes, she's saying my favorite Korean restaurant changes. I have a favorite Korean restaurant depending on each season, with my mood and with the people I am entertaining. So it all depends, right? She says, it all depends what it's for. Actually, between depends and what, there should have been an on, which would make it more correct, but on is often omitted. So it should have been, it depends on what it's for. It depends on what it's for. Or you may also say, it depends what it's for. Kind of pause where the on should be, okay? But let's take a look at her response one more time. She does have a favorite Korean restaurant, but it changes, right? It changes a lot with this season. Every time the season changes, her favorite Korean restaurant changes as well. Also, with her mood, depending on what kind of mood she is in, She likes different restaurants depending on the people she is with or the people she is entertaining. Yes, it also changes. Entertain means to what? It means to please sometimes. It means to, I guess, make enjoyable, right? So if you entertain your friends, it means that you try to make your friends happy. You try to maybe please them in a way. Help them have a good time. So the point is, she has a few favorite Korean restaurants, and it really depends on what it's for. And then she says, I'll say that one of my favorite Korean restaurants is kind of half Korean and half Cajun. If you can believe that. So, here, let's take a look at what she says from the beginning. One of my favorite Korean restaurants. Pay attention. One of my favorite Korean restaurants is, okay, kind of half Korean and half Cajun, if you can believe that. So Cajun is what? I'm sure you've heard of Cajun chicken, right? Basically, we're talking about a type of food that's made with usually very spicy sauces. So it's half Korean style, half Cajun style. And then Gareth says, interesting fusion. Yes, it is fusion, right? It's a combination of Korean and Cajun, so it's fusion. And he says, wow, what sort of dishes do they have? What kinds of food do they have? She says, they have an incredible menu. They have Korean food. They have Cajun-inspired Korean food, if you can imagine that. They have popcorn-flavored ice cream. Here, if you take a look at incredible. Incredible can mean wonderful, as in a good way. It could also mean a lot. So, if you say they have an incredible menu, it could mean that they have a whole bunch of delicious foods. It can also mean that they have a huge menu, many different kinds of foods on the menu. But the point is, she says they have Korean food, they have Cajun food, or Cajun-inspired Korean food. So this is fusion, okay? Korean and Cajun fusion food. And she says they have popcorn-flavored ice cream. It was popcorn-flavored ice cream. So that's very interesting. Gareth says, wow, hard to believe, huh? Kelly says, and yet it all gets served out with kimchi. And I think it's called namul, the side dishes. Interesting. So she's saying that when you go to this restaurant, even when you order Cajun-style food or Cajun-inspired Korean dishes, you will always have kimchi and namul, some side dishes. And Gareth says, seriously, kimchi and ice cream? This is what I thought too. When you order ice cream, they give you kimchi and namul? Kelly says, no, not at the same time. So no, that's not true. She says, you order them. So if you order ice cream, you get ice cream. If you want kimchi with your ice cream, you order kimchi and you get it. But they don't give you kimchi and side dishes whenever you order ice cream or other dishes. That's what she is saying. You have to order it on the side. And she says, I'm into buffets, and Korea does buffets wonderfully. Okay, let's take a look at the sentence. Wonderfully. In this case, it means very well. She says, I'm into buffets, meaning I very much like buffets. I love buffets. Let's take a look at the pronunciation of this word. I think most commonly we tend to say buffet, right? Buffet or buffet. Even in the American way of saying this, some people say buffet or buffet. So it's kind of more, I guess, French-like by saying buffet, or very American, buffet. Okay? So you can choose whichever you want to say. Buffet. I'm into buffets. I love buffets. And Korea does buffets wonderfully, very well. And she asks Gareth, how about you? He says, it's a tough choice. Tough meaning difficult. It's not an easy choice. It's a hard choice. It's a difficult choice. Because there are so many. Because there are so many. But I think my favorite restaurant, here we go, Garrett's favorite restaurant, would be a restaurant close to our house that specializes in specifically 제육덮밥 and 오징어덮밥. I see. And then it also has 된장찌개. Okay, if only we could have written that down in Korean. The point is what? He does have a favorite Korean restaurant, and that restaurant, where is it? It's close to his house. And that restaurant specializes in 제육덮밥. It specializes in 오징어덮밥. It also specializes in or also has 된장찌개. So it has 된장찌개, but it specializes in 제육덮밥 and 오징어덮밥. Specialize in something means what? It focuses on something. It concentrates on something. So if a restaurant specializes in a certain dish, it means that that dish is very special at that restaurant. Okay, they pay extra attention to that dish. It's probably their most delicious dish. Okay, so that is Garrett's favorite restaurant. Kelly says, sorry, I don't know what the first two are. The first two menus that he mentioned, 제육 and 오징어덮밥. He says, oh really? So, here we go. 오징어덮밥 is squid in a spicy sauce. That's true. Kelly says, oh, not my style. I don't like that. And he says, and 제육덮밥 is pork. That's true. I like it there. It's very relaxing. Now he's talking about the atmosphere of the restaurant. It's very relaxing. Okay, the restaurant. The atmosphere of the restaurant is relaxing. You sit on the floor. It has a very homely feel. Homely is what? H-O-M-E-L-Y. Have you heard of homey? H-O-M-E-Y. Homey and homely are used, I think, I don't know, almost in the same situations. Homey, or homely especially, means that it is simple, yet very cozy and comfortable. Just like your home. It's just like home, very much like home. Homey, cozy, homely, it's very cozy and comfortable. It's very small, quiet, traditional. All right, and Kelly says, well, to each to their own. Each to their own. This is an idiomatic expression, and this means that everyone has the right to make their own choice. So even when you disagree or you think otherwise, you can say, well, each to their own, meaning, well, you and I are different, but, we all have the right to make our own choices. Each to their own, each to their own. She says, I guess the important part is that you find pleasure. Sure. And eating is such an important part of life. I do agree, because I especially enjoy eating really good food. So it's true. People have different tastes. We like different things. We have taste buds that no one else has. Right? So whatever is pleasing to each and every individual is good, and as long as you find pleasure, that's most important. So here we go. He says absolutely. And finally, Kelly says cheers to that. Cheers to that, what does that mean? Now, this could be tricky, okay, because cheers to that is something used to, I guess, express approval of something or agreement, okay, with approval. Or especially when you agree to a statement, you can say, cheers to that, especially in an informal setting in the UK. But in the US, if you say cheers, it can also mean thank you, thanks. Okay, so don't be confused. Usually, cheers to that means that you agree. Yeah, good for you, or that's it. Here, you agree to that. And cheers itself can also mean thanks, especially in America. So please do keep that in mind. Okay, I guess that brings us to an end to the conversation then. Let's take a listen to it one more time.
Kelly, do you have a favorite Korean restaurant?
Yes, I do, but it changes a lot.
Does it?
With the season, with my mood,
yes.
with the people I'm entertaining. It depends what it's for.
Sure.
I'll say that one of my favorite Korean restaurants is kind of half Korean and half Cajun, if you can believe that.
Wow, interesting fusion.
Yeah.
Wow. Tell, what sort of menu, what sort of dishes do they have?
They have an incredible menu.
Do they?
They have Korean food. They have a little Cajun-inspired Korean food, if you can imagine that. They have popcorn flavored ice cream, and yet it all gets served out with kimchi and I think it's called namuol, the side dishes. Yeah.
Kimchi and ice cream?
Well, not at the same time.
Sure,
you order
sure.
them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm into buffets, and Korea does buffets wonderfully.
Oh,
so
they do.
The Grand Hyatt's pretty awesome for that.
That is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. How about you?
It's a tough choice because there's so many, but I think my favorite restaurant would be a restaurant close to our house that just, specializes in a few types of food, specifically jeok dokpap and ojinga dokpap, and then also has, doenjang jjigae and that type of stuff.
Sorry, I don't know what the first two are.
Ah, really? Right.
Not sure.
So ojinga dokpap is squid in a spicy sauce.
Oh,
served
not
with
my
rice.
style.
And jeok dokpap is pork. So yeah, I like it there. It's very relaxing. You sit on the floor. It's very homely feel, small, quiet. Yeah, traditional. Yeah.
Well, to each their own. I mean,
Yes.
I guess the important part is that you find pleasure.
Exactly.
And eating is such an important part of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
Cheers
the
to
most
that.
important part of life.
Yes.
Welcome back, everyone. It's now time for actual expressions. Okay, let's begin with some vocab words and then move on to our patterns for today. First of all, we have entertaining. Entertaining. Oftentimes, entertaining. Entertaining. The first T will sound very soft. You might even not hear it because if you say it quickly, fast, very naturally, it may sound like entertaining. 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 You don't hear the first T, but here we go. Entertaining. Entertaining. Without the first T, entertaining. Entertaining means pleasing, appealing. Cajun, here we have Cajun, style of food, okay, developed by the Cajuns, and usually Cajun food is made with very spicy seasonings, okay? You all know Cajun chicken, right? Spicy chicken. What about wonderfully, greatly, beautifully, extraordinarily? But in today's actual talk, we were talking about how Kelly said Korea does buffets wonderfully. In that case, it means very well, okay? Extraordinarily, very well. Moving on, tough. Tough means arduous, troubling. In some cases, it also means demanding. If something is difficult, you can say, oh, this is difficult. Oh my, this is tough. Okay, let's go on to specialize. Stress goes on the first syllable, specialize. It means to concentrate or focus. So often when you go to restaurants or when you want to tell your friend about a certain restaurant, where it's especially known for a certain dish, you can say, this restaurant specializes in blah, blah, blah. Let's say, for example, this restaurant specializes in galbi. Galbi's the best at that restaurant. This restaurant specializes in patbingsu, meaning patbingsu is the best at that place. Specialize in something. Homely. Homely is very much like home. A home is what? It's cozy and it's comfy, meaning comfortable. All right? Moving on to each to their own. This is used to, I guess, express that each and every individual, every person has the right to make their own choices. I can't believe how spending all her money on shoes makes her happy. But each to their own, I guess. Okay, but each to their own, I guess. Well, she's got the right to buy shoes, spend all her money. Whatever makes her happy is important, right? Okay, moving on to cheers to that. It's our last pattern for today. Once again, it is used to express your agreement, approval, especially in informal situations in the UK. But if you just say cheers, It could also mean thanks. Here we go. What do you say to throwing Sam a surprise party or surprise birthday party this weekend? Cheers to that. This means what? Hey, why not? I agree. Okay, it's used to express approval or agreement. Job well done, everyone.